People say money doesn't buy happiness. And my answer is, how would you know? And even if it doesn't, you can just give it all away again. Like, don't you want to try a different version of reality? You've lived this life where you wake up and you earn a little bit of money and you're really grateful to buy things because you can't afford everything. So, save up for stuff and then you buy something and you're grateful for it. And then an emergency comes and wipes out your savings and you go back to work. You've tried that version of reality. Let's try the new one, right? Let's try my version of reality. You buy every car. Why? Because it makes no difference to your bank. You buy a jet, you buy a yacht, you buy Bugattis. You spend $1 million a month on basically nothing, just day-to-day expenses like security and cigars and staff. And yeah, sure, I'm not saying my life is perfect. Hedonistic adaptation's a bitch. Sometimes you sit and go, I bought all this shit and I spend all this money and I don't even really care about any of it. That does happen. But I can always go back to being broke. I can always just give it up again. I've lived poor. Now I get to live rich. Do I want to live all the different versions? We only live once. Do I want to try all the different versions of reality? Your primary reason to get rich shouldn't be to get stuff. It should be to take care of the people you love and to experience a new version of life. For the same reason you want to go traveling and try some new food. Try a new life where you're not fucking broke. You're only living once and you're sitting there going, oh, I don't have motivation. You don't have motivation to change the game before you expire and end up in the ground. You're never going to wake up rich ever once before you die. Do you have any idea how great it feels to wake up rich? Like just to wake up and go, still rich. Shall I buy some more stuff? Oh, I already have everything I want. It's a great feeling. And yeah, there are some rich people who say money doesn't buy happiness, blah, blah. You can always just give it away. You can go back to being broke again. I might go broke at the end, mix it up for the last year, Become homeless or something. Who cares? It's funny. But I have the choice because I've worked hard and I'm successful, so I can decide to be broke. You don't have a choice. You're broke by force. If I don't have something, it's because I don't want it. If you don't have something, it's because you can't afford it. Very different things. Hey, Andrew, do you have a 488 Pista Ferrari? No, I don't, actually. I have 4 812 competitions and 94 other cars. Oh, but why don't you have a Pista? I didn't want one. Why don't you have one? Because you can't afford one. I can have whatever the fuck I want. Which means if I don't have something, I made a conscious decision. I decided not to fuck that female because she is desperate for me. I win. I have control. I'm the winner. That's why it is extremely important you get up off your ass and stop being broke so you can experience a new life where you matter. The term millionaire has lost all value. In the 40s or the 50s or the 60s, if they said a guy was a millionaire, you imagine Scrooge McDuck, right? Well, I am a millionaire. And let me explain to you that being a millionaire is basically the bare minimum acceptable standard. It doesn't mean anything anymore. Being a millionaire is nothing. Everyone who lives a life outside of abject poverty is a millionaire. If you have a nice house and a nice car in any mid-tier city, you're probably pretty close to, if not already, a millionaire. It doesn't mean anything. All of the things that were afforded to the common man not so long ago are now exclusively for millionaires only. You have to be a millionaire to put your kids through a good education where they're not surrounded by feral savages. You have to be a millionaire to be able to afford a car and the parking and all the taxes and all the fines to avoid the public transport system, which is once again full of feral savages. You have to be a millionaire in case you get sick or someone you love gets sick. You have to be a millionaire to travel the world a little bit, to see some things, to go on a trip or a holiday. You have to be basically a millionaire to afford to do that 3 or 4 times a year. Millionaires are doing the things that normal people on respectable salaries were doing only 20 or 30 years ago. And now you have to be a millionaire to pull that off. As a millionaire, you're not instantly globally renowned. You're not recognized everywhere. You're just a guy with a little bit of money and you're spending it on the most basic, normal stuff. I have hundreds of millions of dollars. And I think of how much money I spend just living very normal. Groceries, not getting stabbed to death, a car that doesn't break down, staying in good shape, taxes, lawyers getting scammed and ripped off by government nonstop as they try and steal my stuff. It costs millions of dollars to do nothing. Poor people think, oh yeah, if I was a millionaire, I'd do this, I'd do that. Do you understand it costs me millions of dollars a year to do nothing and avoid dying or savages? Because the streets are just running with crazy people now. Being a millionaire is the bare minimum acceptable standard to have a life semi-worth living. And 1 million ain't gonna do it. And trust me, if you had 30 million in the bank, you wouldn't feel rich. You'd just be avoiding public, avoiding as many people as possible because you can't trust anyone anymore. You'd be doing your very best to stay in good shape and eat good food. And that would be it. There's really not that much to do with the money besides live a life that most people who worked in a factory could live in the 1950s. Avoid a bunch of fucking retards, live in a community full of nice people, and raise your children correctly, and allow your wife to stay at home so that she doesn't need a second job, so that your kids are instilled with your mindset and your values. Money is one of the most common things on the planet because they can print it from thin air. They don't have to mine it. They don't have to build it. They don't have to find it. Even better, they don't even have to print it on paper anymore. They can just type it into a computer. So money's not a rare thing. But there are some things that are rare. What's rare is finding a man who is dependable, who will turn up on time, who will do what he is asked to do, who will try his very best, who won't lie or cheat or scam or make excuses. That is rare. And if you're that kind of person, you will always end up rich because money's worth nothing and that's worth everything. If you don't have any money being thrown at you, it's because you're not the kind of person who deserves to have money thrown at them. A beautiful woman who is loyal and obedient and quiet and nice and makes a home a happy place. They never need jobs because they are rare. And a man who turns up on time with a firm handshake and tries his best and dedicates himself and doesn't lie or cheat or scam and takes an interest in his work, he always ends up rich because he's more valuable than money. The way to make money is to be more valuable than money. And truthfully, there are not many doers in the world. There are not many people who get up and decide to go and do something, to take action and to do it properly and completely. Those kind of people always end up rich. It's impossible to not be rich. New money exists every day. They just invent it from the sky anyway. Of course, it's going to end up with the doers. It's not going to end up with the fucking idiots, is it? It's going to go in the direction of the people who deserve it. So next time you're sitting around at home thinking, how do I make money? I need money. Stop thinking of money as above you. Money's not above you. Money is below you. You're a fantastic person with a unique and varied history. And you have memories and you have thoughts and feelings and emotions and insights. And if only you could be a little bit more disciplined, a little bit more dedicated, if only you could focus a little bit more and pay a little bit more attention, you would be far above money. And once you're above money, it flows to you. People pay me money to answer the phone. People pay me money to reply to them. People just pay me money because I'm worth so much more than money. I'm Andrew Tate. That's who you need to be. And it's really not that difficult because the competition is very low. There are people out here in the world today, as screwed as Earth is, in the mess that we're currently living in, who are still obsessed with sports stars and pop music. Their competition is zero. They're just out drinking, watching sports, distracting themselves on TikTok. They're losers. All you have to do is focus on yourself. You're gonna win. Get up. Fail. Time and time again, you need to keep failing. When I was learning how to box, I got knocked out, I failed. When I was learning how to make this business and make money, my old business failed. I lost everything and had to start all over again. The reason they talk about failure is because failure is the only way you learn a lesson. Because if you didn't fail, what did you learn? If you went to the boxing gym and you didn't get knocked out, you didn't learn to keep your hands up. If you started a business and you didn't fail, if you didn't lose all of your money, you didn't learn how important cash flow was. So when anyone says, oh yeah, I failed, what they're saying is they learn. It's the only way to learn. And if you're in a situation where you should get knocked out and you don't get knocked out, then you're not going to learn your lesson and you're going to keep doing it. If you're sparring against somebody who's not good enough to hit you when your hands are down, you're never going to put them up. And if you have a business and you keep making a mistake and you're getting away with it, you're not going to realize it's a mistake until one day it all goes wrong. One of my favorite things to do is ask a loser why they lost. And they never say it's them. It's never anything to do with them. It's never their own decisions. It's never the position they put themselves in. It was some outside force. But even if it rained, it's still your fault that you went outside. Even if it rains, it's still your fault you didn't check the weather forecast. Even if it rains, it's still your fault you didn't bring an umbrella. It's all your fault. You have a part to play in every single situation and every single scenario. But every time I ask a loser why they lost, it never seems to be their fault. You took a job because it's safe. You don't want to start your own company because you might not make any money. So you took the safe path. You make less money. You're a slave. You sit in the commute. You have to listen to bullshit HR departments. Your dreams never come true. For only 2 weeks a year, you have any kind of freedom, but it was safe, right? Except AI is coming to take your job, and all the companies are firing everyone. So it was never safe. The risk is the same whether you launch your own company or you have a job, but the upsides are massively different. It's 2 coin flips. The chances are the same, but on one coin flip, you can live the life of your dreams, and on the other coin flip, the best that can happen is you barely pay your bills. So why do you want a job instead of learning how to make your own money for yourself and regaining your geographical freedom?
At one point in your life, you're gonna have to jump. You just gotta go. You cannot play it safe your whole life. Ships are safe when they're in port, right? But that ain't what ships is built for. You're built to be in rough water. You're built to go far away places. If your job is your port, now if it's the job of your dreams, that's one thing. But if you don't like your job, you just staying in port because it's safe, you're not built for that.